What's good, everybody? We just witnessed a terrific performance from Errol Spence Jr. Kudos to Yordenis Ugas. He left it all in the ring, but we got to look out for our fighters, right? And the ref did his job and the doctor did his job, stopping the fight. His eye was just too swollen, he couldn't see out of it. But what a terrific, magnificent performance from Errol Spence Jr. Errol was able to, just switch it up on him. Like I was saying in my previous video, I just felt Errol had the better abilities and, just the better ability to also change up the game plan, switch it up, adapt. And that's what he did. Like I said, if he goes to the body, he could eventually get a stoppage, break Ugas down. And that's what he did. He broke Ugas down, going to the body. And he also got inside of his guard with the uppercut. If you watch the fight, you saw Errol, break through that guard with those short uppercuts. And that's what caused, Ugas' eye to swell up. I don't think Ugas was prepared for that. But still, kudos to Ugas for stepping in there and putting on the show for us. Started off hot. I got to give him his props. Going to the body on Errol Spence. That first round was something else from Ugas. It was like, okay, like I said, he wasn't gonna roll over for Errol, and he proved that in that first round. Even the second round, I think that was, Ugas started off strong in the beginning. But again, Errol just adapted, his ability to, change up the game plan, switch it up, try different things. And he's an all-around puncher. He doesn't just punch from one angle. He punches from several different angles. He's always moving, just hitting you with shots from different angles. And Ugas wasn't prepared for that. He wasn't prepared for that. Errol has the best body attack I've seen in a long time from fighters. His ability to attack the body, even when your guard is up, he's still able to get around your guard and get those ribs. And he broke Ugas down. But Ugas also, has a good body attack as well. And as I watched the fight, I felt like Ugas did have the better pop. I'll give him that. He had the better pop. When he hit Errol flush, it looked like it did something to Errol. But he was not consistent enough. He let his hands go every so often. And the first, few rounds, he was letting his hands go. But even then, they still weren't coming, as much as they should have. Maybe he was pacing himself. But I felt like he kind of, after the first 3 rounds, he just got slower and slower and slower with letting his hands go. And then to a point where he wasn't really punching as much anymore. And Errol was going 100 miles an hour, hitting them 38, 45 times a round. And when you get punished like that, that's called taking a beating. That's going to be hard to recover from. And, respect to Errol for, putting on that show for us, giving the fans their money's worth. And what a fight. I am pleased and happy that I spent my money on this fight. Definitely. I definitely felt like I got my money's worth. So thanks to these guys for, putting on the show for us. And, giving us some entertainment. Now, I don't know what the future is going to be for Ugas. Hopefully he's going to be fine health-wise and he will be able to step back in the ring. But the way his eye was looking, I don't know. It was so swollen and there was a little blood, coming out of it. So hopefully his eye is going to be okay and he'll be able to fight again. So let's wish him the best. As far as Errol Spence, we heard what he said. He wants Terrence Crawford next. And I'm looking forward to that. That is going to be. I just don't want nothing to get in the way with it. So I don't want nothing to get in the way of it. Let's just, let them get the paperwork together, get that business side together. Hopefully we can get over this 50-50 issue, because in my opinion, if it's not 50-50, it should at least be 60-40, Errol's way. That's just my opinion, But I want to see this fight. And hopefully the business side of things does not keep us from getting this fight. It sounds like both the fighters want to fight each other. You heard what Errol Spence said in the ring after the fight. He said he's coming for those motherfucking belts. He's coming for that belt. So he wants to unify and be undisputed in the welterweight division. Undisputed champ in the welterweight division. And just from watching this fight, if that Errol Spence gets in the ring with Terrence Crawford, I don't know if Terrence is going to be able to bang with him like that. Terrence is going to have to move around. I don't think he's going to be able to sustain an attack like that from Errol Spence, especially to the body. I just don't. But I am not saying that Terrence Crawford does not stand a chance, because we've seen what Terrence Crawford can do. I just don't think banging with Errol Spence is going to be the way for him to get the job done. That's just my opinion. You guys can let me know what you think. Now, back to the Ugas fight and Errol Spence fight. Let's just take it round by round. First round, they meet in the middle, and they're going back and forth with the body shots. Looks like, for my opinion, that first round, I kind of gave that round to Ugas. I gave the first round to Yordenis Ugas. Just looked like he was more effective, in my opinion, with his punches to the body. Now in that second round, they was going back and forth, but I think that Errol got the best of them in that second round. So I gave the second round to Errol Spence. Now in that third round, you could call it a draw, but they was going at it. I could see, going with Ugas, and I could see going with Errol Spence in that third round. From then on, I gave pretty much every round to Errol Spence, except for that, I believe it was the sixth round where his mouth guard got knocked out. Now, I don't really count the punches that came after that. I know, it was his job to keep his guards up or whatever, but it did look like the ref was stepping in to, pause the fight for a second, which caused a little confusion. If not for that, I don't think Ugas would have got those punches off on Errol Spence. So if you want to give Ugas the sixth round, I get it. But that seventh, eighth, ninth, domination. Just total domination. I mean, it was ridiculous, the display that Errol Spence was putting on, banging away on Yordenis Ugas. Ugas showed heart. They kept taking a look at that eye, pausing the fight, asking the doctor to come in and take a look at his eye, and he was like, no, don't stop this fight, from what I can understand, and he wanted to continue. Even when they stopped the fight, Ugas wanted to continue, but it wasn't happening. His body gave out. I hear a lot of people say that, Errol Spence broke Ugas. I don't necessarily consider that, breaking him. I don't know if you want to call it that. I just call it beating him. I mean, he beat him to the point where he couldn't continue, where his body, couldn't continue because of his eye. But his heart was still there. His heart was still there. If it wasn't for that, Ugas would have, continued. So if that qualifies as breaking a man, when you can't see, he swelled his eye up so bad he couldn't see, then, so be it. But in my opinion, I just think that he caused so much physical damage on that eye, that they had to stop the fight. Breaking a man, in my opinion, means that he don't want to step in the ring with you again. I believe if you ask Ugas, if you want to fight Errol again, that he would say yes. I think he'd fight him again. So in my opinion, he's not broken. That's just my opinion. He just beat him up. He got beat up. That's what happened. Yeah, maybe you have to beat a man up like Ugas, right? You have to beat him up. You ain't gonna make him stop. You gotta beat him up. That man swam from Cuba, you know, in the water with sharks to get here. So that tells you right there what kind of person that is, what kind of man that is. At the end of the day, you have to beat him up physically. You're not gonna, make him stop. So I don't think he was necessarily broken in that way where he, no mas, gave up, quit. I just think his body gave out on him. His eye was too swollen, but his heart was still in the fight and he wanted to continue. So respect to Ugas for that. I would watch Ugas fight again, depending on who he's fighting, but you got my respect, Ugas. But yeah, shout out to Errol Spence for the performance he put on. He was just all around, punching him from so many different angles. His game is all around. He got good defense. He's got good leg movement. He does not stand still, which he could stand in the pocket and bang with you if he wanted to. But, he does it all. He does it all. It's just not smart for a fighter to sit in the pocket and bang with Errol Spence. It's just not, because he throws so many punches. You're looking for openings. He's throwing. You're trying to calculate. He's throwing. By the time you get you one in, he hits you 4 or 5 times. So I think fighters are going to have to come up with a different game plan to fight with Errol Spence. And I don't even think you're just going to have to be able to beat him. You're going to have the better abilities, period. I don't think there's nothing else you can do with that man. He's too cold with them hands. Too cold, and he can take a punch. Even when Ugas caught him in the 6th round, knocked his mouthpiece out and hit him with 2 good, clean shots, he still didn't fall. That tells you right there what time it is. That tells you right there. When Floyd Mayweather hit Ortiz with them shots, it was over with. It was lights out. And that was coming from Floyd Mayweather, who is not a knockout artist at that stage of his career. Floyd was a knockout artist in the beginning, but at that stage of his career, he was boxing people to death. So Ugas caught him clean, but he didn't knock him out. Anyone else hit by those punches, it was over with. It would be over with. It would have been over. But Errol, he got knocked into the ropes, but that was it. And he came back out in that 7th round trying to tear his head off. Trying to tear that man's head off. And he basically succeeded. He took his eye off. Swelled his eye up bad. Those uppercuts, they was getting through the guard. I don't think Ugas adapted to that. He was blocking. He was blocking, but he was blocking the sides for, trying to prevent those hooks that left. And he didn't prevent anything from coming up the center, that middle. And it got him in the eye, And boy, did it get him. Almost knocked him out. At that point, he was off. He was kind of like, dazed on his feet. Errol couldn't finish him. And that goes to show what kind of heart and resilience and, ability Ugas has. Because anyone else, Errol would have finished him right there. He would have finished him, but Ugas was able to withstand it and survive the round. So, yeah. Now let's see what the future holds for Errol Spence. Hopefully we get that fight with Terrence Crawford. I'm thinking sometime in the fall, possibly, September. I think August, if we're lucky, but I'm looking at September, October. But if we can get it in August, by all means, let us get that. Right? Let us get that. If we can get that fight in August, let us get that. But I'm thinking we're going to get it in about sometime around September, October. Maybe Halloween. That's a good date. If Terrence Crawford feels comfortable enough waiting that long, I know he's been inactive for a little minute here since the Sean Porter fight. So maybe he's got a fight coming up. Maybe he fights Josh Taylor. I would definitely be interested in that fight. I'll watch that. But for him to fight Josh Taylor and then fight Errol Spence, he's going to need some time to recover and then train, for Errol Spence. So I'm interested to see what is going to happen. Like, how is this going to work out? With the timing of the fight, basically. So let's see what happens. Big fish in there. That's what they call him. Errol. That's what Errol called himself. That's what Terrence called him. Big fish. Well, looks like you about to get your chance at the big fish. So let's see what happened, guys. Tell me what you thought of the fight. How did you feel about spending your money on this fight? Do you feel like you got your money's worth? Did your fighter win that you picked? If not, how do you feel, about your pick, not being victorious? Yeah, that's all I got for you guys right now. Stay tuned. I will be back with some more content. We got some great fights this year coming up. And I'm going to be doing some reviews on these fights. So you guys stay tuned. Boxing Around the Ring. I'll holler at you guys.